Now, I don't like being the bearer of bad news, but someone's gotta do it. Unfortunately, episode 4 onwards for NieR Automata have been delayed. As it stands, the only information we really have is that basically episodes 1 through 3 are going to be rebroadcasted, so we can expect episode 4 at the minimum, I guess, a month from now? I mean, if you looked into production details before the show even started up, there was rumblings that it was kind of a mess behind the scenes. Now, the go-to excuse is always the vid. Now, it's like the perfect excuse for any company ever for basically why things get delayed or maybe quality suffers. Not to say that this case couldn't be true, because both China and Japan, which is the two main locations where anime kind of gets made, especially with third-party outsourcing, they're being hit pretty hard right now, meaning there's a lot less people to work on these productions. So it very well could be true. The only issue I have is these companies like Aniplex, who force anime out before they're ready. I mean, if you only have 3 episodes ready to go before you have to take a break not once but probably at least 2 or 3 times, you should delay the full anime a season or 2 before we end up getting it. I mean, it's hard to feel sympathy for the producers on these production committees, because before the show kicked off, we knew there was production missteps behind the scenes. So the fact that we got a delay this soon, a delay was expected, but I think most of us expected it around episode 6, not episode 3, but it's unfortunate. Who knows how long we'll actually have to wait? I think it would be in everyone's best interest to just full-on delay this to the next season, because there's no way in hell that they're gonna come back with episode 4 and not delay it at least a second and maybe even a third time. It's just, look at what happened with Uncle from Another World. It's obviously a bit different in that case, but still, Aniplex is notoriously known for making anime production companies, whether A1 Pictures or others, force their anime out sooner than they're ready, and just, I wish more studios would just finish the products or have it close to finish before they start releasing it, because a quality show like NieR Automata deserves so much better than the production committee that they have. The team responsible for crafting it, nothing but love and respect, but production committees, I don't have a lot of love and respect for, especially when they force these studios, these talented teams, to kill themselves and then forcibly get delayed and get all the backlash as Aniplex counts their checkbooks because they just mismanaged the whole thing. So yeah, that is unfortunate, but the title's not wrong. Episode 3 was quality. Had they not delayed this episode, I would have assumed that maybe the production missteps either were overblown or we wouldn't get it for closer to the end of the show's run. So the fact that for 3 episodes we've had consistent quality both on visual production and narrative direction, I mean, it's a damn shame. That's putting it nicely. It is a damn shame we have to wait for more. I just hope it will only be the one delay and we'll just be able to get into smooth sailings. I think there was also rumblings that this might have been a 2-core originally, but the fact that it's only going to be a 1-core, I mean, it seems likely that they're just trying to finish a core and hope for the best, but let's talk about episode 3, right? So I do have a full live reaction available on the Patreon if you're interested in seeing that. It was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I mean, last week just completely took my breath away. For an episode that had barely any voice acting, it was just watching machines feel like they were alive. This episode kind of like goes full swing into that by the end, because you have 2B and the others, basically they're at this like resistance camp and they're exploring this world, and by the end of the episode we reach this like robot junkyard is probably the way I would describe it. And you see robots ranging from rocking a crib to, I don't even know how I can say things on YouTube anymore because they changed all the rules, but let's just say there was a thrusting robot towards another robot and you can tell what they were trying to do there. There was hugging, there was embracing. And as I think it was 9S says, like, they're just imitating, they're trying to act like humans, or they're trying to act like or mimic what they see. But it's hard to imagine that that's just acting like, because for me anyway, the thing that keeps me invested in NieR's world is that it's the concept of what is alive and what is machine. Because I think the whole concept of being able to think for yourself and feel for yourself, that's kind of what it is to be alive. I mean, I look at animals and the compassion they have for humans and other animals, and to me, that is alive. Yes, we may be different. I may be a human and it may be an elephant, but it doesn't change the fact that it feels things, that it is alive. But a robot that helps at a factory, right? That is a machine. But if machines got to the point where they were interacting in a way that, yes, it's fearful because concept is something artificial thinking for itself. I mean, we don't need to see sci-fi movies to know how bad that can get. But looking at it from a third-party perspective, I don't know how I feel. Is this really just a machine imitating what they see? Or is it a machine that has grown into feeling for itself and we're killing it just because we're scared of it? It's a very interesting philosophical question, and I don't have an answer or a solution to what's going on. And the fact that in the middle of trying to figure out what's going on, you casually summon someone who forms into, I don't know, Jesus Christ, gets stabbed brutally, and then pops out of him like he's his son, and then carries his body off like it's some angelic moment? I don't know what we're watching here, but I mean, I understand why there's such a big following, a passionate following about the NieR game. For a long time, I never really understood what people were talking about with NieR. I just always see a lot of fan art. But man, the type of these questions, the ideas that they're bringing up, there's not a lot of stories that dive into it quite this deep. And for only being 3 episodes in, I mean, episodes 2 and 3 are really making my mind race and say, these are the types of world I wish I see more of. Like the fact that you casually have, we're walking through this, it's just a post-apocalyptic world. The buildings are destroyed, everything's crumbling, and we're casually talking about apartments as if, when there wasn't enough land, basically humans grouped together in order to save space, and they're just talking well, humans are just weird. I love those little moments, those little details, because it just fleshes it out to say how disconnected these current characters are from our current present, but just how interesting the world has evolved, but how destructive it actually is. I truly think NieR is one of the strongest shows this season, and even with the delay, I mean, I'm willing to still keep it there. I still think it would be in everyone's best interest if literally we needed a delay to get to episode 4, just delay the whole thing to another season, because I'm still having PTSD from Uncle from Another World, and it's 5 delays that it ended up having. I don't even think the last episode has aired yet. Delays happen. I'm one of those people who's very patient. I can wait as long as needed. The thing that I'm growing more upset with is that these production committees are they're making too much anime, and because half of, honestly, 95% of the anime coming out aren't finished before their release, very few studios do it. I mean, Mob Psycho was completed before it was released. I mean, most of the KyoAni works are usually completed before they release. Production committees just are forcing too much out without giving enough breathing room. Seriously, if you don't have at least 9 episodes out of your 12 made by the time episode 1 releases, at this point, you should just expect a delay, especially with the world actually not being able to come into work at a moment's notice. It's just, for a show like this that is so thought-provoking, that is showing us the fall of humanity and the rise of machines turning alive and the concepts that are happening, to have you blue balls me, production committees, by not just giving these talented teams the time they need to cook these masterful shows, is disappointing. But episode 3 was fantastic. If anything, the good thing is that the team responsible for adapting this show are doing enough to keep my interest there that I could wait a damn year for episode 4 need be. Production committees, please do not take that literal, because if you're doing that just because you're the fans can wait as long as we need, we'll drop an episode here, we'll drop an episode there. No, we ain't playing around with this anymore. But still, you get my point, right? They're doing a good job to hook you, and episode 1, while good, engaging first episode, 2 and 3 are that next level that takes the NieR story into compelling, thought-provoking adventures. That's why I'm excited for episode 4 when we eventually do get it. Maybe they'll surprise us and we'll only have a week break, but as it stands, things aren't looking good. They haven't looked good before the anime even kicked off, and all we can hope for is that the production committee, when they decide to release episode 4, they do so knowing there won't need to be any other delays, but only time will tell. But of course, I'll pass the torch over to you. Whether you have thoughts on the delay or the episode in question, what are you feeling about NieR? Do let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell if you want to get as many notifications to the channel as possible, and like I mentioned, full live reaction is available on the Patreon. And while you're there, you can also get yourself a video shoutout like a few are about to get here. So we got I Love Ants, Jaxo23, and James Wright. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.